All right, click the links to join the channel here over at SubScribe, over at Odyssey, the various other links. So companies are starting to rein in woke in anticipation. And as it turns out, woke has proven to be very expensive. And they also fear Trump making trouble for them, which is definitely on the horizon, at least at the federal level. And I started thinking about it. And yes, he could make things difficult, and it sounds like he's going in that direction. So what woke is, at least if it's DEI type of stuff, is introducing an additional layer of complexity to a system that doesn't increase product quality or sales. It's based on a mass brainwashing campaign that was really kicking into gear post-war. Then it took another jump in the 60s when TV notched it up a gear with a little bit. They started the subversive TV shows, and you can look back at those early 60s shows and you barely see it, but that's how it works. It's a slowly boiling pot. So you have a company, and then you have, should be limited, a form of human resources, which is all you need. But then they caught this mass hysteria woke virus, and they brought in usually obese POC women to lecture employees on how much they hate people of European descent. No other groups, blacks, Asians, Jews, Latins, were allowed to be criticized or you'd be fired. Only European people. Though it does seem like they've turned on the Asians over the past 10 years. So it's as if there's some enemy of the people of the light set up this Frankfurt School cultural Marxist system to push this anti-white propaganda and dismantle nations to make just like all the conspiracy theories of 90s radio are kind of coming true. So anyway, people are starting to look at all this anti-white racism and notice that, well, every other group is off limits, and that seems a little bit a little biased, and realize that these people just hate European people. It's just not that deep. They've been the problem the whole time. We're awesome. There's never been a complaint that, oh, there's too many white engineers working on this project. Whatever will we do? Probably make an awesome product and a ton of profit. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's usually how it works. So they paid for these DEI departments, and it's hysterical. Because all that does, God, King, Emperor Trump, they should have him, I'm sure Disney's going to put him like in little cameos in movies. That would be so freaking funny if a movie company did that. Like him, Elon Musk, just to see the triggering commence. What it does is it costs the companies, money when they start these things up, because there's an immediate loss of productivity. It's like what it does is just takes the wind out of people's sails, where they realize like this is not what they kind of signed up for, and they were getting rid of good people because they're the wrong ethnicity, and they're bringing in idiots to replace them because they were the correct ones who could check a box. But if you're not hiring on merit, then you're not hiring on merit. And there's a bunch of copium from the left trying to explain that, but ultimately that's what it boils down to. You go, hey, so should you have blind applications for things? And the left suddenly goes, no. Why not? Why wouldn't you want to do that? Because it's like they're not arguing from a place of logic, because otherwise you would want to do that. So what was happening was some of the good people were voluntarily leaving the woke companies to go to at least neutral ones or maybe pro-white ones, including just starting their own companies, which is something you learn when you're hiring people, is that you only want to hire your people and never somebody who's above you on this, Frankfurt School oppression ladder. And you're saying, yeah, I already do that. Because the people of the light can't get each other fired for some racial microaggression or something like that. You don't want to hire or work with anyone who has those special victim points, which is what happened like 10 years ago with this whole. Before Me Too, there was something else where they were just becoming aware of this kind of stuff. And so what happened was men just stopped mentoring women. It all dried up. You couldn't meet with them. You couldn't work with them. It just wasn't worth the risk. And it's like, is that what you intended? And the thing is, why would you want to work with people who, if they want your job, will just say you said something offensive? It's just not worth the risk. It shows you how dangerous diversity is. No, it's not your strength. It's better to be around people where you can safely, use if some words slip out, they're just gonna let it fly. They just don't care. So the people that they make the DEI political commissars, those people are idiots, and they cost the company money with everything they're involved in, which is a weird thing to do with a business. It seems counterintuitive. I mean, like a religion. It's better to start a business that has a pro-white environment right from the start to uplift and empower the marginalized and oppressed people of Europe. And yes, you have to speak like this. That's the language of woke victimization, and it's a great way to manipulate them, and it will make them very angry, which is awesome. Just keep everything in the realm of feelings. Always refer to yourself and the European people as marginalized, oppressed, disenfranchised, and othered. Lump yourself in with the marginalized indigenous people of the world. You can always identify as Latin, Black, and a trans woman of color, or Native American, like Elizabeth Warren. Nothing matters because all this woke DEI stuff is based on nothing logical. It's all arguing from emotion. If you feel you're a marginalized person, then you are. Your oppression is not up to someone else to decide. And it's their job to just listen and believe. Being a trans woman of color will help you get some traction. Because if you're black, trans, and a woman, then you tick the POC, the BLT, and the female box. So you are the perfect affirmative action hire. Anyway, DEI has been a disaster for every business it touched, like 100%. And while the executives themselves are woke, like you've seen with some of the Disney interviews with these people behind the scenes, they're out of their freaking minds. They're also running companies that are competing with others, and a woke company is just not going to be as effective as one that is just a normal merit-based company that rejects this kind of globalist nonsense. So anyway, companies have finally learned that DEI policies are not selling product. So they're canceling their departments until the next phase of woke comes back, to the point where even pressure from Larry Fink is not enough to continue down this pathway, because woke causes so much division in companies that they lose efficiency. Say you have they do these stupid seminars like Disney does, and it's some kind of anti-white nonsense or hatred. I always call things hatred or hate. We have to stamp out anti-white hate. We must dismantle and deconstruct the systems of anti-white racism and oppression. You just say it. You just repeat what they're saying back to them, and you just switch things around. And they don't have a logical argument against it because they haven't started arguing from logic. Everything's emotion. But you point out, hey, actually the issue is actually all these other groups, and you can name several, and assuming you don't get fired, it causes these employees to start the discussion, and people are arguing all because of this anti-white, globalist, racist hate campaign. The thing is, since none of this is logical or factual, it's all emotion. You can switch the blame from European people to any other group you wish and say it's your lived experience as a marginalized and oppressed person, but most people are obviously not willing to get fired for that, so you just don't work as hard. And then you also, the other thing that's come out is people won't correct the mistakes of people above them on the oppressive hierarchy, the nons, if they make some mistake, because it's not in your interest. Where if a non screws something up and you get involved, they can get you fired as some kind of microaggression, and the company is not going to be loyal to you. They're not going to have an impartial examination of this. So you look at it like, well, why would you care about the company anymore? And you don't. Like, it all, once they bring this stuff up, you realize, oh, this is just there's no loyalty either way. So you're not going to stick your neck out. So if a POC screws something up, you just mind your own business, because the damage is on the POC and the loss is paid by the company, and you don't care one way or another. It's just a paycheck to you. And diversity in a workplace is already a loss of social cohesion. But if you can get fired from offending some soy pussy, then you're just going to mind your own business, and that is destroying companies. You can ignore things, but the consequences of ignoring things are going to rear their ugly heads. People know companies are not loyal, but now they know that these companies actually hate them merely because of their ethnicity. The DEI department is an example of a psychological operation that makes the companies lose money. It doesn't bring any benefit, and it's done to virtue signal to a customer base that doesn't care about any of it. The customer base has one perspective, and which is not favoring these woke ideals, as you can see with woke movies most clearly, because they abysmally fail. But the heads of these companies they're usually much wealthier, living in these gated communities. They're in echo chambers, physically and ideologically, where they're just not getting new experiences. And so they're bouncing these ideas and getting this positive reinforcement off each other, and they're putting out products or advertising campaigns, hey Jaguar, or movies that are just bombing. In fact, now it's kind of the opposite of the intent, where people are turned off by diversity. If you see a POC in a movie advertisement, you don't even watch it, because how come you didn't watch it? You're not interested in Star Wars? Because I know this POC walks pox marginalized furry otherkin character is going to be a Mary Sue, and if there's it's going to follow this oppression hierarchy perfectly. And I only say that because it does it every single time. So people are turned off by diversity. They know it doesn't help anything that it's involved with, and people are tired of walking on eggshells so they don't offend somebody. So to be safe, people just stay within their own race, and they don't socialize with these people outside of it. And woke has infiltrated everything. Where if someone asks you if you've seen a movie and you say like, oh, I don't watch woke movies, or they're too left wing or something. And I will say it is fun to dog whistle with left wingers. So you don't say anything that can really pin down. You go, oh, I just don't watch this kind of movies. You don't say woke, but you could probably think of something that would be not enough for them to complain about. Like, oh, it just seemed kind of left of center, kind of a globalist point of view. Just not into it. And so like they know you've said something, but it's not enough for them to. They'll just be passive aggressive about it. The thing is, but if you said like woke, they'd probably complain it was a microaggression. So communication decreases inter-ethnicity and stays intra, where it's just safer. And the damage that woke has done across divisions of different industries is serious, and it's not going away. It's just a temporary shifting of gear. The people pulling the strings on this are still there, and they still firmly believe in this kind of stuff, and they really are just anti-white globalist parasites. But Trump getting elected has signaled a bit of a shift, and it's actually more of a perception than reality, because Trump, it just isn't that right wing. He's just a moderate. Like for 20 years ago, he would be firmly a Democrat. He would be farther to the left than Obama and Hillary Clinton 20 years ago. That's how fast the Overton window has shifted to the left. But the left has been calling him a Hugo Boss meets Satan for 8 years, so they have to keep up that illusion. There's kind of a sunk cost investment thing going on with their Trump derangement syndrome. So if they suddenly stop or break ranks, then they lose credibility. But companies run the risk of, if there's some story of anti-white discrimination or some woke advertising campaign, then the greatest troll alive, probably Donald Trump, might call it out on Twitter, and there's going to be a lot of attention paid to these kind of things. So yes, the left is right. There is going to be kind of a new nucleus for the next 4 years. And the left-wing mainstream media at MSNBC and CNN, for some reason, they're seeing a drop in the left-wingers watching their shows, and they're predicting it to continue, which I admit I don't understand, because it's usually when the party in power, then the opposite out-of-power party gets more energized, because they have something to focus on. I assume they do better with Trump in office because it gives them a windmill to tilt against. But that just hasn't been the case, and the left wing is slowly stopping their support of mainstream media and stuff like Disney and Warner Brothers, the pop culture, because everyone is kind of like tuning out of mainstream everything, and the left is also getting bored with woke propaganda movies. And that same fear-mongering coming out of Rachel Maddow and Anderson Cooper, that anti-Trump energy, is just not as strong this time. And also, all those cat ladies are older now, and the men are probably sick with AIDS and monkeypox, so they probably don't have the energy they used to. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys on the next episode.